Sometimes the people we pass every day carry the most beautiful stories. We just never stop long enough to hear them. This is the story of a park bench, an old man, and the second chance that changed everything. Every morning, before the city truly woke up, Eleanor would take her usual walk through Maple Park. It was her ritual. Same time, same path, same cup of coffee. And every morning she'd see the same old man sitting on the same wooden bench under a maple tree. He never looked up, never spoke, just sat there, staring at the empty space beside him. For weeks, Eleanor wondered who he was, and why that bench seemed to hold his entire world. One chilly morning, she finally stopped. "Mind if I sit here?" she asked, clutching her warm cup. The man nodded slowly, a faint smile appearing beneath his gray mustache. They sat in silence. Then out of nowhere he said, "You know, this bench used to belong to my wife." Eleanor hesitated. "Belong?" He chuckled softly. "Not legally, of course, but she claimed it. Every morning for 40 years she'd sit right here and talk about her dreams, and I'd just listen." His name was Walter, a retired mail carrier who had lost his wife, Margaret, 2 years earlier. He came back to this bench every morning because, in his words, it's where she still speaks to me, in the rustle of leaves. Eleanor found herself coming back every day after that. Sometimes they'd talk about books. Sometimes they'd just sit quietly, watching the world pass by. She learned that Walter's children lived far away, and after his wife's passing, he'd withdrawn from almost everyone. "The world moves too fast now," he'd say. "But this bench, it remembers." Eleanor began to notice something else. People who walked by often glanced at Walter but never stopped. They saw an old man, not a love story still unfolding in silence. One morning the bench was empty. For the first time in months, Walter wasn't there. Eleanor waited and waited, but he never came. A park worker approached and gently said, "He passed away last night." Her heart sank. She looked at the empty bench and felt the weight of unspoken words. The thank you she never said, the stories they hadn't finished. Then she saw it, a small envelope taped under the bench. Her name was written on it, shaky but clear. Inside was a short note. "Dear Eleanor, thank you for reminding me what kindness feels like. You gave me back something I thought I'd lost, hope. When people stop to listen, life speaks again. Don't let the world make you rush past its quiet moments. The second chance you gave me was more than enough. Now it's your turn. Go find yours. Walter." Tears blurred the words. She placed the letter back under the bench and whispered, "Goodbye, my friend." Weeks passed and the seasons changed, but every morning someone new sat on that same bench. A jogger resting, a mother feeding birds with her child, a lonely teenager listening to music. Each time Eleanor would smile quietly, as if the bench itself had become a messenger of second chances. Walter's story didn't end there. It simply kept finding new hearts to rest on. Hope doesn't always arrive in grand moments. Sometimes it waits quietly on an old park bench, in a kind word, a shared silence, or a stranger who decides to stop and listen. Because every act of presence, no matter how small, is a second chance for someone else, and maybe voici for you too. If this story touched your heart, share it. You never know whose second chance it might bring.